But let's begin with the tragic death of Oscar-nominated actor Heath Ledger at the age of just 28. Natalie Morales is outside the apartment where his body was discovered on Tuesday afternoon. Natalie, good morning to you once again.
And good morning to you once again, Meredith. As you can see, fans already leaving tributes here, and you could see a lot of press, the paparazzi here taking pictures of that as well. Actor Heath Ledger, just 28 years old. His body was discovered yesterday. According to New York police, a masseuse and a cleaning lady found him face down at the foot of his bed. According to police, they do confirm that prescription sleeping pills were found in his apartment and taken from the apartment, though there was no obvious sign or suicide note indicating he had committed suicide. Heath Ledger had starred in more than a dozen films, including Brokeback Mountain, playing the role of a gay cowboy, a role that made him famous and actually earned him his Oscar nomination. And Ledger had just finished filming 2 months ago the new Batman film in which he played the Joker, which is supposed to come out this summer. Ledger also leaves behind his 2-year-old daughter, Matilda. Meredith?
Very sad story, Natalie. Thank you so much more. And with more, here's Matt.
All right, Meredith, thanks very much. Dr. Drew Pinsky is with VH1's Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, and Larry Hackett is managing editor of People magazine. The next issue of People hits newsstands on Friday. Guys, good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Matt.
And let me just start. I mean, Larry, let me start with you. I think why this is shocking to a lot of people is, we live in New York. We don't wake up every morning to see Heath Ledger's picture on the paper as coming out of a club or being involved in some misdeeds. This is kind of a reluctant star, down-to-earth guy.
Absolutely. If you live here in New York, you have to know that he lived in Brooklyn for about a year or two, which is very, very mellow. You saw him walking the streets. I saw him walking the streets of my neighborhood in Brooklyn. With Michelle Williams and his daughter Matilda. He was not a kind of guy who hung out. However, in September, when they split up, he left Brooklyn and moved to Soho, which if you live in New York, you know that's leaving, the suburbs, if you will, and moving downtown. And was seen in nightclubs and bars all the time, became a bit of a fixture in the gossip columns. And according to our reporting, was sort of burning the candle at both ends.
Anything we talk about right now, Drew, and I'll bring you in here in terms of how he died and what caused his death, is pure speculation. But from what you're hearing, what are the options? What are the possible scenarios?
Right, that's right, Matt. We have to realize that this is pure speculation. I keep our mind open to the possibility that this is yet some unidentified medical problem or some congenital issue that we really haven't yet been able to understand. But the issue is that there has been sleeping pills found at the bedside, and people have naturally been wondering, could this have somehow figured into his death? And there's no doubt it could have figured into it, but I'll tell you what, it's very difficult for a young male to die from a sleeping pill overdose. There almost really has to be other medication or other substances involved if this is a substance-related death.
And you make a good point. We cannot read too much into the fact that they found prescription sleeping pills in his home. Let me be completely honest. If they went to my home, they'd find a bottle of prescription sleeping pills, too. It just means he was having trouble sleeping.
We'll just keep an eye on you, Matt. That's okay.
But I mean that.
No, absolutely. That is absolutely true. It could be completely spurious, though there have been some reports that perhaps he was looking disheveled recently. I've heard reports that he was agitated, irritable, excessive motor activity. Now, that could be a sign of a medical problem, too. But again, people are just starting to speculate. It is such a shock and such a tragedy that we're all trying to get our heads around this and understand how is this possible that this could have happened to such a young, healthy man.
Larry, you said that he became more of a fixture in the club scene, however. So after his separation or breakup from Michelle Williams, he moves to New York. However, he was seen with his daughter all the time. By all accounts, a great father. His career continued to prosper. He just, as Natalie mentioned, shot this role in the new Batman movie. So, I mean, what do we know about his mental state of mind as of late?
Well, again, it's all speculation. To ascribe whatever we know about what people say about him and to whether or not to link this to his death, as you say, is speculation at this time. But he was a guy who was very tired and very busy. He was quoted in papers in the fall saying that he slept 2 hours a night, was having a very, very difficult time falling asleep. A number of different medications, as you point out, were found in the apartment. But he was very doting with his daughter. They still lived in Brooklyn. He saw her all the time. But he went out a lot, and we have a number of sources saying that he looked tired, he looked exhausted.
Did you talk to any of his family members yet in the last 24 hours?
We have some quotes from his parents who spoke in Australia.
All right. And Drew, I mean, this is a guy, you're out on the other coast right now. This is a guy with great range, as an actor. The guy seemed to have such a promising career in front of him, already had accomplished so much.
Right, and he is not somebody that's evoked disdain or envy by anybody, so everybody is shocked. Another thing I would caution people against, they seem to be reports sort of indicating that perhaps somehow he got lost in his roles and this sort of thing. If people can't distinguish fantasy from reality, that's a psychiatric problem. So that is not what has gone on here. That's sort of a fairy tale description about what might have happened. happen. We will all sit tight and hope we can understand how such a tragic death could have occurred.
Okay, Larry.
I just want to say, we'll know more, obviously, when the autopsy takes place today. Excuse me, but there were reports last night that he was suffering from pneumonia as well. So, again, we'll see. That'll all become clear very soon.
In the next couple of days, we're going to hear a lot that the initial reports probably are not accurate,
Indeed.
and we're going to learn much more accurate information. Larry and Drew, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's get another look at the day's weather, and for that, we'll turn to Al Roker.